All right, Mr. Kenny, let's hear your opinion about society.
Well, I want to talk about the way society has changed over the years, especially with the pandemic and how things have changed. You got to remember that
Whoa,
in
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa, slow down. So you're telling me. Wait, what were the things that were impacting us that you're talking about?
well, the thing I'm gonna say is that I want to talk about is how everybody's day to day lives and how things are, how their shopping habits change, things like that, how we live has changed, but it's also cycled. And what I mean by that is okay, we go back a long time ago, like the 1800s, even up before 1960. You go look at Europe, you have a lot of those towns that they were never meant for cars, right? It's all, everyone walked, it's really small roads, there's shops everywhere. We watched that documentary on YouTube and when they were talking about malls, and they made a point that the first ever person to design and open a mall took inspiration from Italy and where he grew up and the certain shops and all that and how it used to look. And I never thought about a mall and that same thing coinciding, but it really does. If you look at how a mall is, how it has like the corner stores and shit within the mall, how they're cornered and the door will be in the corner and you walk in, it's the same thing. It's literally modeled off of that. So we went from living and we had a style of shopping like that, and then all of a sudden everyone moved to the cities and everyone just went to the store. Malls weren't really a thing and big thing until the 60s, and there was stores and that was it. You went, you got something, you left. But then we really got like malls, and malls just kind of reverted it back to the way it was. But instead of having to walk down to your local market, you and your whole damn family would get in your station wagon and go down to the mall, park in one of the 50 gazillion parking spots out there, walk in there, and next thing you know, you have this crowded, close together, just the same experience, but in an indoor building with an air conditioning. And now, as time goes on, we're starting to get to a point where we're starting to revert back. People aren't going to malls, and COVID really accelerated that. But I don't really contribute COVID too much to mall closures. I mean, in social distancing, yeah. But malls were going the way of the dodo bird out the gate. But now it's going back to the way it was, but we also have way bigger stores now. Walmart, for instance, that little Walmart that we have down the road that I work at is huge. It's huge, And so as time goes on, shit just flip-flops. People moved out to the suburbs from the cities in the 60s, and then they had the malls, right? Well, now people are moving back to the cities. I mean, the cities and the suburbs are kind of starting to merge together. Let's face it. You and I, being from Las Vegas, we saw all those businesses and shit start building up. There's businesses, and basically the suburbs became cities in of themselves. They're no longer this area out here that's just for residential. There are businesses there. There are stores there. Everything is now a city in a sense, And so now we're living in the cities again, pretty much. And it's like it just cycles. People get tired of one thing, they go to another. They get tired of that, they go to another. And everything, just everything in life. And it's not just stores and shopping habits and things like that. I mean, everything. Everything in the universe, in life, repeats itself. You think about like a country. A country starts either a free country with free people, or a country that's ruled by leaders or a single leader, and everything is strict and everybody is controlled. If you start free, eventually you find out that your freedoms they come with a safety risk. You can't have your freedom and your safety at the same time. It's not going to happen, but that's why you're free, right?
That's true.
So it's like, and that's what I think the world realized after 9/11 and things, because the United States was a very fortunate country. The only attack we had we've only been attacked, I think I learned in history class, it was 3 times. It was the War of 1812, it was Pearl Harbor, and it was 9/11. 3 times we have been attacked. Only 3. In all these years that we've been around, which is pretty lucky in my eyes. So I think in 9/11, especially knowing that it was our airlines, it was our businesses that got overrun and stuff like that happened because we let people on the planes and we realized that, oh shit, because we're all free, we put ourselves at risk. Now, has the government gone and ran away and taken that out of control and taken a lot of rights unnecessarily away? Yes, absolutely they have. But this is all part of the cycle. We are free, but now we're starting to realize that the more freedoms we have, the more unsafe we are. And so now we're losing rights. And we're just going to keep losing rights. And eventually, I don't know how long from now, maybe in my lifetime, maybe not, but we're going to end up being communists. We're going to end up being a dictatorship. We're going to end up being something that's not a nation of free peoples. But here comes the part that always happens. If you're a nation that starts not free and you're under a ruler or whatever, basically it's the same cycle. Now we are, let's say we're a communist dictatorship, whatever. The people get pissed off, they have enough, they rise up, they overthrow, and they go, we want to be free. Mm-hmm. And so how many times do countries go through these cycles? You look, I'm sure that Britain, at some point or another, long time ago, before Caesar had it and everything else, at some point before, there was free peoples. Now, maybe this was before established governments and things like that, but then they went to their king and their queen and their monarchy. And then over the years, the monarchy had started to fall. Like, they got parliament and things like that, and they kind of got more of a democratic style of government. I shouldn't call it, it's not democracy, but now like the queen is a figurehead. She has no say in anything, right? She doesn't have any power in the government. I mean, they're the royal family, but they're celebrities in of a sense.
There's that, but also there's going to be serious traditions involved. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's true. And the queen, that's the thing about Britain is they love their queen,
I mean, the way I see it is, it's probably enough that, she still, is, fucking signing papers and shit. Shit still probably comes and hits her desk and other shit, Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. But, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I wouldn't be surprised if she does get to partake in some of it. But it's just odd to think that we keep going through this cycle. And the truth is, the cycle takes you through the worst of it, to the best of it, to the worst of it. And that's when you're at the worst of it point, that's when the cycle changes. There's some point in the middle of this cycle each time where you hit, on both sides, where you hit the perfect striking amount of control and freedom, of socialism and capitalism. And I feel like there's a balance. And then it comes back to some of the ideologies that we've heard from ancient civilizations, like a balance, yin and yang. You have to have a balance of everything. If it's too much of one or too much of the other, it's a problem. And I know that I gripe about socialism and that it's not a good thing, but complete socialism is not a good thing at all. And that's what people
agree with that.
People are pushing for complete socialism. They want a government check. They want us. They just want to.
Real quick. This is coming from someone that kind of believed in certain things about socialism. They were kind of getting me to come around the corner, and I agree with what he's saying. Go ahead.
And it's like, no. Now, let me go ahead and give it the leg up a little bit here. Let's look at what complete capitalism was. Complete capitalism back in the day, before the government ever put their hands in it, was you working at a job and you were inhaling toxic fumes and they were dumping shit in the local river and nobody gave a fuck. And the boss would be like, well, if you don't like it, you can go. But you had a family, and if you didn't stay, then you didn't know. You didn't know if your family was going to be okay. And back then, a lot of times, 90% of the time, the wife wasn't working. So if you left, you had nothing to fall back on. You were fucked. And I think that that America and the business owners and stuff took advantage of that. They know that Jim, with his wife Sally and her kid Susie, they know if Jim left, his family would go without. So Jim's not going to leave. So they can treat Jim like shit. They can fucking stomp all over him. They can cut his pay. They can send him home. They can put him in dangerous conditions. They don't give a shit. And that's why certain aspects of socialism, certain aspects of government control, their hands in the economy, in a safety perspective, is okay. I believe that OSHA is a good thing. I believe that certain authorities that stand up for workers' rights are okay. Now, people will argue that, no, you don't need OSHA, you don't need these, you just need unions. Well, here's the thing about unions. Unions, let's face it, unions are independent companies that are out to make money. They don't give a shit about you. The only reason that unions go to fight for the people that they are with is because they know that if they fuck one guy over, they're fucking them all over. And they want that money. They want their money. Unions are a business in of themselves. And so at the end of the day, if it's about making money, can you really trust a union? Can you really fucking trust a union? No. Because a union can be bought. And if somebody who runs a union decides, how the fuck are they going to know if there's some toxic gas in there? Maybe some of them get sick. We don't know what happened. We checked it for you guys. It's safe. They just got health problems. You can't trust a union all the damn time. I'm not saying unions are bad. I know that unions do help out certain especially in certain professions. Like if you're a construction worker, unions are great. Unions are a lot of fucking money out of your check, which sucks. Yeah. Which is why I could never do one. I feel like the rights of a worker, and I mean the rights of a worker in the sense of you're not going to get gassed and you're not going to be put in unsafe situations and shit like that, and they're not going to cut your pay or not pay you or do you dirty. I think things like that ought to be a given. I think that a lot of that companies should not be allowed to 100%. Now, if the company's failing and they're about to go belly up, okay, lay off people. Okay, do what you gotta do. But you don't gotta be a fucking asshole about it. There's a difference between necessary budget cuts and then just being budget cutting for, I want to give this person more money, or I want more money out of because I want to own a new helicopter or some shit when you're up at the top. Especially if you're the CEO or some shit. Take Doug McMillon, for example. Doug McMillon is the CEO of Walmart after Sam Walton died. Sam Walton built that company. And while I don't think that his kids should take the company, because Sam Walton didn't give his company to them damn kids for a freaking reason. Let's face it. If Sam Walton didn't give his own kids the company that he built, he must have not fucking trusted them, quite frankly. He put a guy who started as a Cap 2 stalker in control of the company. Now, do I see kind of a problem with that? Yeah. personally, between you, me, and the floorboards, Sam Walton, from what I heard, because I didn't work for the company back then, but from what I've read up on and what I've heard, Sam Walton was a way better CEO than Doug McMillon ever could be. He made way better business decisions. Doug McMillon, you know, I'm just going to say this. He falls under the class of all the new CEOs and business owners of the world, which comes down to, I'm going to not give a shit about what's right or what's correct, and I'm only going to care about what people are whining about. Like, for instance, Walmart, gun control, mass shootings. Walmart at some point said, people are getting upset about handguns and handgun ammunition, and Walmart sat there, and rather than just saying, you know what, this is America, and we're going to let people buy what the fuck they want, and it is what it is, they say, oh, you know, let's make people happy, let's make them feel good, let's help their feelings, and let's go and let's stop selling handguns and let's stop selling ammo. Now they're trying to take guns and ammo out of Walmart entirely. Is it not enough that I have to go through a background check every time I want to buy a gun? Every time. It's not just one background check, and I get it and all as well. It's every fucking gun. If I buy 3 guns at one time, I take 3 fucking background checks. Well, that might not be true. It might be 1. I don't know for sure on that. But it's bullshit. You know what? If my background check comes back, I'm fine. You know? And it's not like the media makes it out like you just walk up to a store and you go, I'd like 1 fucking AR-15, please. That'll be $700. Here you go. Thanks, bye. And you walk out like it's a gallon of milk. And that's what people seriously think. People who are liberals, who are against guns, who have never bought a gun, who have never been through the process, they just assume that in certain places, you just walk in, yeah, let me get a gun, thanks, bye, see you later. Gun shows? Yeah. And back to what I was saying, Walmart said, okay, well, because everyone's getting their feelings and and people are scared, we're just going to stop selling that stuff. We're only going to sell rifles and ammunition. Now they're trying to take all of them. I think that our store, the store in Anna down here, has had several occasions where they've said, we're going to take the guns out. There's a lot of stores down further south in the city, they don't have guns anymore. They're gone. And I feel like it's...
I like how that's in city parts, too.
Yeah, that's in cities, you know. But all these companies, I get it. You don't want to piss the customer off, but we're doing stupid shit. We're limiting consumers because some people are scared. Look, I'm sorry people are scared of guns. I don't know what to tell them. You know, it's the person who has the gun, not the gun. If I wanted to do a mass murder, I don't need a gun. If I want to blow up a bunch of people, I can. There's the internet will teach you how to make explosives. They sell a book called The Anarchist Cookbook. Shit, you could go online and find information on how you could make a fucking gun if you want to. Me and a friend of mine back in the day in his garage built a slam-fire shotgun and a single-shot 9mm pistol. Took it out to the desert. They worked fine. Now, were they rifled barrels? No. Would they be very accurate? No. But the fact of the matter is, what is a gun besides a fucking device? Like, if you really want to get to the nitty-gritty of it, take a damn tube, take a rubber band and a nail that's centered, put the bullet down, boom, out the barrel. You got a gun. It's not a very effective gun, but it's a gun.
Yeah.
But we have companies, now you got this social justice warrior shit and all this other crap, and everyone's crying, everyone's offended, and what does Walmart, people started screaming, oh, nobody's wearing masks, we're offended, we're upset, we're scared. First of all, the masks that people are wearing do not protect against COVID-19 at all. They are cloth masks.
They
do nothing. They don't do shit. So you're going to fucking sit here and mandate as a company, that we all wear masks that don't do anything because some people's feelings are fucking hurt about it. You know what? Boo-hoo.
Too bad.
All these companies, though, you know what? If they would all give these fuckers the finger and say, you know what? No. Guess what? If every one of them did it, where the fuck are they going to shop? You think they're going to sit there and make shit in their houses because no store will force a mask mandate? No, but it takes one shithole of a company. It takes one of these big box stores. I don't think it was Walmart either. I don't know which one did it, but once one does it, they all got to fucking do it. And it's one asshole. It's one of these pussy fucking CEOs that's too damn scared to just not worry about it and let it be. Yep. That causes the fucking problem.
Yep.
And it's in everything. You have like Target, when Black Lives Matter was a thing. Now let me start off by saying I'm not racist. I have black friends and I don't have anything against people of color. I don't.
Nor do I.
We're from Las Vegas. We're from a freaking melting pot of everybody and their fucking third cousin. If you take a dart and you throw it on a random map of the world, wherever the fuck that dart lands, as long as it's not in the middle of the ocean, maybe if it is, there's some fucker there from that part of the world in Las Vegas. When I came to Texas for the first time, it was in Austin. And we lived in a part called Round Rock. And, well, we lived in Hutto. I worked at a Sonic in Round Rock. I felt tension racially because I was white. Damn near everybody I worked with in that restaurant was African American or Hispanic. And you could tell that I was singled out. They didn't trust me. They didn't like me. And maybe that was because maybe it was different there. Nobody understood that I'm from a different place and we don't have those issues. But it was so weird. 6 months into that job, I ended up quitting. I said, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm treated like the weird one out because they think that I don't like them because they're colored, but I didn't give a shit. Or because they're Hispanic, but I didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I worked with them just like I work with anyone else. We all got to show up there. We all got to do our damn job. I was fucking nice to them. And it didn't mean...
I'm getting sick of that tension anyways. It's bullshit.
But, and this is what it comes down to. Alright, so fine. You're upset. You're upset because you feel... But this is why I don't like the movement. The movement itself... Let me clarify. I don't like the movement itself. Go on the Black Lives Matter webpage. Says it clear as day at the bottom of the page that they are, or I can't remember where it was. I think it was the bottom. It says somewhere on that page, we are a Marxist organization. Karl Marx wrote the manifesto on communism. They are socialists. Communists, maybe, even. And my point is they are pushing an agenda. They are using, and I say it, using racial tension in America. They are using that to push their own agenda. They're not going out. Think about it. If these people were so fucking concerned about black lives and all that, they're going into the projects of cities where there are black business owners, where there are homeless people. There are black homeless people. Sorry to fucking tell you, it's true. There's white homeless people, there's Asian homeless people, there's
the rainbow.
There's the rainbow, okay? Because everybody of any color, of any kind, can always go through the same walk of life, okay? You have high-class white people, and then you have white trash, and then you have somewhere in the middle. You have high-class black people. You have, I guess you could say, ghetto, okay, whatever. I don't know the term. Basically, poverty. You have 3 classes. The rich, the middle class, and the fucking poor. No matter what you call it for each race, doesn't fucking matter. It's the same motherfucking thing. It's the same damn thing. It does not matter. Okay? So here we are. You're in these poor communities. You're in these downtown cities. You're burning shit down. You're burning down businesses. Some of it owned by... Some of these people came out and said, look, I'm a black business owner and Black Lives Matter burnt my fucking business down.
Yeah, there's no fucking brains or sense to it. Like, that's the part that pisses me off. Real quick, this is where I come in, alright? Understand what you are under with that shit. If he hates the movement specifically... I'm going to come in and help him in the instance that you have to be leery of that shit, alright? Is this textbook... Sorry, the computer did something there. Is this a textbook case of mass hysteria? Are they using you? Or is it getting out of hand? Because one way or another, that's fucking dumb. And people can sit here and pretend like they don't understand that, but you do.
And the worst part is,
what he's trying to say.
There are people out there. It's on the website. How fucking sad is it that people will willingly join an organization they won't even go look at and read the website? Now there are people out there who are for socialism because they don't understand. And I'm going to explain it just like I did last night. Socialism works like this. The government owns everything. They run everything. When you go to the DMV and you forget a document at home, fuck you. You're going home. You're getting the document. You're going to wait in the goddamn line all over again. And if it's closed, you could come the fuck back tomorrow and suck their dicks.
I'm going to stop this at the 30-minute mark, just letting you know.
Okay.
Keep going.
So what's going to happen is they think that communism's all good, that socialism's all good, that we all just want government checks. Well, guess what? You ain't the customer anymore when communism and socialism hits. You're the fucking bitch. You're sad because you think you're oppressed now? Holy shit. Get ready. You want socialism? You're going to wish you never fucking asked for it. Go call somebody in Venezuela.
When it comes to socialism and what he's talking about, there is the idea that socialism eventually devolves into essentially communism, into essentially something worse. You know, main point is that it devolves into something. And it's because it's a similar trait from one ideal and perspective of seeing something, and it really happens over time, degrades. So what he's talking about, I forgot what I was trying to say. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Basically, when you're a socialist country, you have one store for everything. You have one brand.
Hang on. All right, so I just remembered. All I was trying to say and help him out with was that socialism can divide to communism, degrade to communism, over time devolve, whatever word you want to put on it. My point is if we all agree that that's bad, that we don't want to be controlled that much, understand that, yes, you look up socialism, you learn what it's about. It does contain certain ideals from communism. They exist. They are there.
Now don't stop it at the 30-minute mark. Let me say this. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Go ahead.
Basically, it's happening now. It's happening now. It's starting. It's beginning. Your companies, the choices, the free choices that you have as a consumer are going away. As time goes on, businesses are going to go belly up because of inflation, because of what's happening with the economy, because of these free stimulus checks. If you don't believe
what he's saying, look what's been happening because of COVID. It was going that direction.
And now you have businesses paying way more than they can afford for people, which means they're even more hurt. They're trying to kill businesses off. It is easier to take over when there's less companies, less of a diverse market. When the government owns everything, you're not the customer anymore. You are the bitch. You take it like it is, and you like it. You want bologna? You get the people's bologna. You want bread? You get the people's bread. You want juice? If you're lucky enough to get fucking juice, you get the people's juice. If not, you get the people's rat shit-infested water that nobody goddamn dares drink or they'll die. You'll have to boil it over the stove. Guess what? When you're socialist, everybody makes the same. There's no point in me going in a doctor going to school for 8 years to fucking become a doctor and give up 8 years of his or her free life so that they can be a doctor, so that they can make the same money as the fucking trash guy. And so what happens? Society devolves. Shit goes wrong. We don't have the people we need. Do you think kids wake up and go, I want to be a plumber and unclog fucking toilets? No. But you know what? There's decent money in plumbing. And there's a lot of places that'll pay for you to learn the trade. And so people do it. It's just like Mike Rowe and Dirty Jobs. There's some nasty shit out there and nobody would do it if the money wasn't worth it. So, the truth of the matter is, nobody will do those jobs. And so what happens? Society starts to fail. And the government goes, well, shit. Well, guess what? You're gonna be that fucking doctor. Or we're gonna kill you. And you got people saying, well, what about the mentally ill? What about
Let me add something in there. Okay, maybe they won't literally kill you, but it will be a smart ass way of like, good luck, go fuck yourself, basically.
And here's
that's what it would be.
And here's the other thing. Okay? People say, what about the mentally ill? What about people with disabilities? What about them? Are you fucking stupid? Let me explain something to you. If you're a government, guess what? Governments don't make money. The people make the fucking money. That's why they have to tax the shit out of us. The people make the money. The government doesn't make shit. The government robs us. The government has been robbing us for years.
I'm sorry, but this is a real world fucking thing. It's something I have an issue with. You paid $40 for basically a
toll tag,
toll road ticket, and a toll tag. You pay $40 a fucking month.
To
drive on someone's road.
No, it's based off how much you use the road. I told you this is different. This is a privately owned road that you don't have to take. There are other highways and ways of getting there. We didn't have to take the toll road. There's another way to go. Would have taken a tad bit longer. Well, unfortunately, you as the consumer have the right not to take that road.
No, believe you.
That is the truth. You have the right not to take a toll road, just to pay to use it.
And I hear you. Your fucking gravel.
And I hear you. You know what? The toll road is kind of a ripoff here. Back in the day, he's throwing like 75 cents a stop, all is well. Now it's like, you want to go to the airport, $8 one way, $8 back. I would have Lyft rides where it'd be sitting. Now, granted, the customer pays for the tolls, so it's not a big deal. But it's $16 out of the total that you earned. And so, do I use them here and there? Yeah, because sometimes during certain times of the day, they're convenient. And I will pay for that. But I'm also smart. I won't get on there when I know there's traffic. I'll just go take the other roads and sit in traffic for free. But, anyway.
Hey, get ready to wrap this up. I don't know how much longer. Because memory issues is why.
Well, the truth is, if you're wanting socialism, eventually it turns into capitalism. The difference between socialism and capitalism: socialism is an economy that is 100% controlled by the government. Everyone gets government checks.
You mean communism?
No, socialism. Everyone gets government checks. Sorry. Everyone at some point ends up working the jobs the government wants them to work because nobody wants to excel or do better in life. And let's face it, if you're disabled or you're unwell or whatever and you're living off the government, you're better off dead. Because let's face it, if they're feeding you and you're not making them money, they don't give a shit what they give you. They'll give you the sloppiest slop fucking backhand bullshit food, make you sick, shit your pants. They're feeding you.
It's all because of judgment. You wait and see.
They're feeding you.
You can't
and if you think that they
system on this,
and if you think they give a shit about your health, you're wrong because you're not making them any money. You need to take a look at your government and just remember, in the end, all governments are still out to make money. And all governments will turn to corruption to make that money. They don't care if they're slowly killing a mass group of people, whether they're disabled or not. Because guess what? They'll put wood shavings in your fucking bread. They don't give a damn. They'll feed you the most nasty shit because guess what? They want to save the money. And you'll die early. And you'll die miserable because of that fact. Shit, it's already happening to us. First of all, if you want to eat organic, you got to have a fucking bankroll. And then, is it really fucking organic? Let's face it. Really? How do you know?
I guarantee you, criminal mind, there is at least one idea that popped into that person's head. There is someone out there that slaps organic across the fucking label
and it's
of one
not
of their foods and are selling it to you.
Did you know that
and
it
is false?
Did you know that there is not a I don't know which one it is. I know non-GMO. There is a certification process. It's either it's either non-GMO or it's organic. And one of those two, I think it's organic. There is no government process, no standard that you have to go to say it's organic. I can grow a tomato in a shit chemical infested fucking wasteland covered in fucking everything under the sun. I can bring it to you. It's all organic. I can put it on the label. And I don't have to go through any government nothing to prove that. And I'll charge you $3 more for that tomato, cause fuck it. You guys are putting trust in a system that is fucking, a lot of the times, lying to you about many things. And all kinds of companies lie. Did you know that energy drinks are highly inaccurate in how much caffeine is in their drinks? What is it? Monster, I think it says there's 200 or 300 something milligrams of caffeine. Guess what? They go and they put that crap through the tests in the labs. They find out there's way more, sometimes 300, 400, 500 milligrams of caffeine in those monsters. And there's no legal law that says that they have to tell you how much is in those cans or how little. They put it there as a number.
I want to do a little pause break right here. I'm not stopping the video or nothing. Sometimes this computer will fritz out because of memory issues. I don't know if I resolved the problem. So if the thing just blacks out, this is Michael, okay? Now you see why I wanted him on here so bad. Anyways, continue. They heard enough about me. They already know, dude.
The idea is that you guys need to understand that there is no such thing as free in this world. Somebody has to pay. It has to come from somewhere. A lot of people want socialism because they want government checks. Well, let me put it to you this way. Ever since the pandemic, our money has lost more and more value. The more money they print and put out in circulation, and it goes elsewhere, a lot of the times going to other countries, because everything we fucking have here is made outside of the U.S. The more of our money...
We've already went off the gold standard.
We've already gone off the gold standard. There is no gold in Fort Knox. Put that in your head now.
There may be gold in Fort Knox.
I don't think so.
Knows? I mean, either
I don't think so.
It doesn't matter. Because, I mean, if you know how business works, either it does or it doesn't.
Yeah.
They're just fucking playing off
They're
of that.
playing the game. But at the end of the day, your dollar is losing spending power. A gallon of milk right now in the state of Texas varies.
Get your farmer mentality in, and then listen to what the fuck he's saying.
A gallon of milk right now in the state of Texas, where I am, fluctuates from about $2.08 to $2.36.
Techies, you're on a farm too. Gold comes out of the earth.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Let's face it. Having a livestock is expensive. That cow gets sick, you got to take it to the vet. That cow takes care. It's expensive to own these animals. Then you have to pay someone to take care of them if it's not like a family farm, if it's a business. And at the end of the day, you have animals die, you have shit go wrong all the time, because let's face it, a farm is just that. It's a farm. Okay? There's expenses. It's not cheap. Everyone thinks you just get a cow and you get a pig and you get a couple pigs and let them go wild and you get more pigs and it's just that easy. No, it's not. It is really hard. It's really hard to be a farmer. It's really hard to have livestock. It's really hard to grow food. I never knew how hard it was to grow food until my mother started gardening, and I started coming around and seeing she'd be out there watering, and she had an enclosure for these plants, and I figured, well, great, these plants are gonna thrive, like they got it made in the shade. No, plants still frickin' died. Plants are they're picky little shits. Think about the child who will only eat a handful of select things, and if it's anything else, well, they're just going to tell you to get bent, and they're not eating it. That's what it is. A plant's got to have it just right. They are the fucking Goldilockses. There is, and animals, it's the same thing. They have a habitat. They have things you have to maintain. They have a diet you have to maintain. When it all comes down to it, it all costs money. And let's face it, if it's more expensive for that farmer to get his cows vet help and everything else because we have to raise pay and things like that, and things are starting to be more expensive because let's face it, the more currency that's outside of our country that's in circulation that's not backed, the less the dollar is worth. And let's face it, the dollar's going away. Any of you who have a boat of money in a 401k and you're my age, you're 20 something, kill your 401k. Get it out of there. Don't do it. Or at least keep your 401k and pull the money. Because I promise you, you're going to lose more money every year paying a penalty on your 401k. And the reason why I say that is some companies match. My company matches on a 401k. Take the free money if it's there. But pull it out every year. And invest it in something you can hold. Invest it in gold, in silver. And I don't mean a silver or a gold bond. Because that's just a damn promise from the government. The government don't keep any promises.
The end of the world, but I agree with him in the sense of it's a mother may I game. And clearly the people have fucking completely lost any say on lots of shit. So just remember that.
Buy it in something you have in your hands. Crap, you can go online right now. Now gold is ridiculous. If you don't have money to burn, it's like $2,000 something for an ounce of gold. But you can get an ounce of silver for like $30. Okay? So buy silver. Buy silver and then go with a company that'll let you convert your silver to gold when you've got enough silver. Like I know my parents use one called Money Metals. And Money Metals, once you have enough silver, you can trade it in for gold in equivalent value. But don't leave your money in 401ks. Don't leave your money in Roth IRAs. Because you're going to lose more money at the devaluing of the dollar than you will through early penalties of pulling that money out of there. You're going to lose way more money. And you're going to be left shit out of luck because, let's face it, look at your grandparents, especially people my age, look at your great-grandparents or whatever sitting there telling you, back in my day, I used to buy a candy bar.
Used to be things for a nickel.
I used to be able to get a candy bar and a soda on this for a nickel. Think about that now. A candy bar and a soda, a lot of times will cost you almost $5 fucking.
Think about give you a lot of fucking happiness.
Think
a
about
lot of stress taken off your shoulders.
Think about that. In 100 years, almost, not even that. It's been less than that. I don't know. I don't know when that time. I could be wrong. I don't know if it's 100 years. I gotta remember it is 2021. So who knows? I can't put dates because I haven't done that research. But that is an exponential cost increase. Let's say that means that it's just about equal. Candy bar and a soda for 5 cents versus $5. That's a lot of inflation. And it's because of what we're going through. And now what's going to happen when we're $60, and it's $500 for a soda and a candy bar. We'll be the old fuck
say the
sitting
economy
there.
still works, but you're going to be looking, this is a lot of people, you're going to be looking at that number, fucking triple-digit math for simple shit.
For a soda and a damn bar of candy.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's my thermometer on shit, which, you know, is a little better than the average person's. I'll literally just fucking walk around everywhere. I've been fucking 20,000 different jobs. It's probably not going to stop anytime soon. We'll see. But my point that I'm trying to make is that... Wait, what were you just talking about?
Inflation and how candy bars cost.
The devaluation of the dollar and inflation, alright? The issue with that is that all I'm trying to say is odds are it's probably actually happening. You keep a lot of people appeased by making the minimum wage go up.
And that's another thing.
It depends on what's happening behind the curtains.
Another
They're
thing.
either going to find a way to make ends meet, or inflation's going to come and get you. It doesn't matter.
And raising minimum wage is not the answer.
Bit of both is always the truth.
Look at California. Look at the West Coast, who have a lot of states who raise their minimum wage to 10, 11, 12, whatever dollars. Milk in those states is way more, much more money compared to here. Okay? Things are way more expensive out there. Hell, didn't Vegas have a minimum wage increase? And if the state of Nevada went up to like $10 an hour, and now it's $1,200 if you want a one-bedroom apartment. A fucking one-bedroom apartment. That's as bad as California was. You see that when you have to pay people more, the people up top are not going to eat that. They're not going to take it up the ass. Shit is going to get more expensive. Shit is not free. It does not just pop out of the air. It all comes from somewhere, and somebody has got to pay.
And you also got to remember, at the end of the day, that big business person, they're doing the same as you, you know?
Yep. And I don't like, and they think oh, it'll never be $500 to buy a candy bar and a soda. Okay, there are currencies out there.
Price fluctuation of generally anything.
Well, no,
take
let
a
me
pack of cigarettes just for the fuck of it.
Oh shit! Back in the day, $4, $5. They're almost $10 now. But let me put it to you this way:
they do whatever
you need to look at currency as a whole and not just the dollar. Why is it that it's thousands of yen to equal our dollar? Because they've done the same shit. They've done the same shit. They did it. They raised inflation. Inflation happens. Your currency loses value.
Oldest culture in human history he's bringing up, by the way.
Yeah, yen.
So remember that one.
So understand that because it's thousands of yen just to buy candy bars and things in Japan. Maybe it's hundreds. I don't know.
But I think maybe the hundreds. I don't know either.
But you know what? All I know is it's $5 to buy a candy bar and a soda about here, and it's fucking way more of a unit of currency out there. So it's not outlandish for one day we are paying $500 US. And everyone's sitting here, well, we're going to go to cryptocurrency. We're going to go to cryptocurrency. We're going to go to cryptocurrency. Yeah, you guys are betting and trading these cryptocurrencies thinking you're going to be big shit. Guess what? The government's about to fuck you in the ass on taxes for it. You're about to pay big time, Bubby. Yeah, buddy, guess what? And that's our Democrat president, because they want a cut of the pie. Because guess what's going to happen? All these cryptocurrencies, at some point, our government is going to step in and guess what? We got too many unregulated currencies. And they're going to kill them all, and there's going to be just one. And everybody put their life savings into the fucking ones that go the way of the dodo bird, and they don't sell fast enough. You're fucked. Put your money in something you can hold. That's worth something. My money is going into guns, ammunition, and silver. It is something I can hold. It is something that people will want, no matter what. And because of that, it doesn't matter what fucking currency comes after the dollar. I'm not losing money. The average person, you're not going to become a billionaire. I'm sorry. I know you're thinking you can with stocks and cryptocurrency and this and that. And maybe there are rare cases like that GameStop situation where people all banded together and bought a bunch and crashed it when they sold it. Okay.
I guess to help you not have to explain it away too much, it's always a win the lottery scenario.
Exactly. And so it's just like that. When you do shit like that, you are risking tomorrow. Because let's face it, the way shit's going, what we're eating, what companies are feeding us, you're not going to escape it. Let me just say that. You can't escape what they're putting in the food. My ideology on it is it's all I can get.
You don't know. You live by what he just said.
That's right. I don't have a farm. I don't have livestock. I don't have another. I do, but I can't afford those options because those options cost a lot more money because it costs more money to produce those kinds of products. So I don't have a choice. But what I can do is I can enjoy my life because I'm not going to have it but once. So yes, I'm being fed crap. But let me explain something to you. I'm saving in what matters in things that I can hold because one day, eating all this garbage, guess what? I might not be as able and capable as I am physically now when I'm 50-something fucking years old. And another thing, don't think if you're our age, or even if you're in your 30s, that when you get old, Social Security will be there. Because if you do, I got sad fucking news for you. No, it won't. And because it's the dollar, it won't be worth shit. It won't be there for you. It will be gone. Kaput. And unfortunately, you have to pay into it. You don't get a choice. It's not an option. You are stuck. You're gonna pay it. It's like a tax. I see it as a tax. I'm paying a tax. Now, would I pull out of it? No, because there are people that are on welfare. And the thing about welfare is, and coming back around the corner of not all things related to socialism are bad, I think that welfare isn't a bad thing if it's used correctly. See, society now wants to push for equality, and equality is not the answer, okay? I have three people. A 3 foot tall.
Abuse the system.
You have a 3 foot tall man, a 6 foot tall man, and a 4 foot tall woman. Okay? The tree is 5.5 feet tall to the fruit. To the bottom fruit. Nothing on top. We want equality, so I give them all a 3 foot step stool. Well, the guy who was 3 feet now is 6 feet. He can reach the apples at the bottom of the tree. He can get something. Great. But, guess what? The guy who was 6 feet tall is now 9 feet tall. And he has access to the whole fucking tree. For nothing. For nothing. He didn't need that leg up. He just got it. Because they're equal. There's a book in middle school or high school that we read. A society where they did something to make everybody equal. If you are too pretty, they covered your face. If you're too light, they weighed you down. They did something to you to make you the exact same specs of who you are. And you couldn't dance, and you couldn't sing, and you couldn't express yourself at all. Because you couldn't be anything better than everything else because everyone wanted equality. But back to that was one of the books that really spoke to me on equality and why it's not the answer. So back to what I was saying. So now that person's 9 feet up in the air. And they're probably taking the apples of the guy who just got his boost to 6 feet. Okay. Now the 4.5 or the 5.5, 5 foot tall, 4 foot tall woman. Well, now she is 7 feet in the air. And she's doing the same thing. Guy who's 6 feet tall, he's still at a disadvantage. Because the people above him are taken from the bottom too. Because let's face it, at our core, at our base, We are all animals, and we all take as much as we can to survive.
And the philosophy I love going on, can't remember exactly whose it was, but we aren't naturally inclined to help each other.
No, we're not.
That's been proven time
No,
and time
we're
again.
not. Strip away society, strip away rules, It's just like the movie The Purge. If we were inclined to help each other, nobody would attack each other during a purge. And they can say that's just a movie, but the truth is that is exactly what would happen. Everybody would go and fucking kill each other. Because nobody wants to be at the disadvantage.
There would be no law around it, though. I always flip out at the fucking purge. You gotta understand. This is what I love about the purge, alright? I love knocking it over in the sense of nobody is going... I always put it this way, alright? Say someone kills your family member, alright? But bell ring, up, time's up, you gotta stop. Purge is over, okay? Killed your child, something that activates you, that gets you pissed, that rage that they say you're allowed to just fucking turn open like a water faucet, and it's just, they kill your fucking family member, alright? Bell rings. You and that guy who you just watched murder whoever it is important to you, now you have to go back, sit, and chill.
And let me tell you something.
Can't kill him yet until the fucking bell rings.
If that was a real scenario, you came in my house and killed my family, that bell ring, I'd still slash your fucking throat all across my table. I call my cops, slam my hands on the fucking desk and say, here you go. Cuff them and take me away.
Why the purge wouldn't work.
Why the purge wouldn't work. Because at the end of the day, but that's besides the point. The fact of the matter is we are not naturally inclined to help each other.
Look
because
at how many people love
we
the fucking purge, dude.
We are
people dying. Fuck yeah, I love that.
We are based on pure survival and instinct. It is our brains are basically society has brought us up. Your parents have brought you up to follow the rules of society. And that is why we do help each other. We do, because it's our morals and it's the ideas that we were given, the ideals that we were handed to us by our families. But let's also face it. Just because of that, it doesn't matter. Let's look at people who are in terrorist organizations. A lot of those people were children, and their families instilled them in their young age the ideals of that organization. And guess what? In every story, there's a good guy and a bad guy. And let's face it, it's told by the victor who's the good guy and the bad guy. If the terrorists had ended up destroying America and taking over and all this other stuff, which I don't think they would have ever done, they just wanted to attack us, who would be the bad guy? We would. But we are the ones we're the good guy. So we get to say who's the bad guy. To them, we're the bad guy. To them, we're evil. To them, in their eyes, we came into their country and killed their people. Let me explain to you something about war. I know a guy who I worked with, and he recently left the company a long time ago. Or not a long time. He left the company recently. He was there for a long time. A long time ago, he was in the Middle East. There are scenarios where you're not going in understanding what's going on. Okay? He told me that there was a time when they had a van that was loading up and coming their way. But they thought they were coming their way because they were leaving the town. There were armed people getting in the van. They were hostiles. And so, they went ahead, they put a bunch of mines on the road, they blew that van 6 feet straight up in the air. Guess what? That village was not trying to go do an attack. That village was trying to get innocent women and children out before an attack. So I want you to be the husband in that country's military who just lost his wife and his daughter or his little boy. Well, half the time their boys are fighting with him. Who lost his daughter or his wife or both because white man over there blew him up. And let me sit there and ask you, who's the bad guy? These people, you're the young boy whose mom and sister just got blown up. Poof! out of existence, gone. You're never going to see them again because of mean white man over there. So everybody's idea of the bad guy is different. And that's why at the end of the day, we are all animals in nature. We see what we see, we perceive our threats, and we do what we gotta do at our core. The only thing that holds our morals is society, laws, and what we're taught as kids. You strip all that away, we're fucking each other over left and right. Because we need to survive. But all roundabout back to this. So I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it will ever happen. We will continue to go through cycles of civilization. But the truth is, we need to stop where we're at. We need to dial back some of the control that the government has put on us, and we need to stop. We should find that balance. Yin and yang. Evil and good. They must exist for the other to exist. Okay? You must have some control and some freedom. I think that the controls and the freedoms are subjective. Freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, things like that come down to you being able to express yourself, you being able to defend yourself. Those are freedoms that are important. You being able to have a fair trial and things like that, that's important. Anything that protects you, but also there needs to be levels of control. But we'll never get there. But I'm telling you right now, the movements and things in this country that we're seeing, the Black Lives Matter, these people on social media, and social media, by the way, has gotten so bad that I'm seriously considering just deleting my Facebook, deleting every piece of social media that I got, because I'm tired of it. You can't go on there and say anything. There's going to be somebody out there who takes this, and they're going to think, oh, I'm going to find him. Well, if you find me, you find me. But look, I don't hate anyone. I'm just trying to live my life, and I'm just trying to warn the world.
Well, hang on, real quick. Freedom of speech is what you make it. You're already taking away the right to defend yourself. Bottom line, you are. That's not just because I live in Texas. This is someone who wants to live in Washington talking to you. Being brutally honest. Number one, freedom of speech is what you make it. So if you decide that you want to go out there and pound someone into the fucking ground with a goddamn hammer for something they said, you're fucking yourself over in the long run.
Because something you say can get you later. And let's face it, we all sometimes say something without speaking. Or thinking, I mean.
Intellectually thinking, you're hurting yourself right in that moment. You can't handle someone else's opinion? Question it. Argue it. Don't make them feel stupid for having an opinion. You know what you'll deal with and what you won't. But go ahead, you were saying?
The idea is that we all have free speech and we all have a right to feel how we feel. And you know what? Unpopular opinions are just that. They're unpopular opinions. Why do you think that the stereotypical old racist fucking man is alone in a house in the middle of nowhere and he has no friends? Because it's, or besides his small group of friends or her small group of friends or who, binary, whatever you're thinking about, who also have those opinions. They're unpopular opinions for a reason. Okay? People are gonna feel how they feel, and it's my right to say these things to you guys. It's your right to say whether or not you agree with it. If you're sitting at whatever you're listening to just going, fuck you, dude, kiss my ass, you're a piece of shit, I'm turning this off, suck my dick, fine. It doesn't hurt me, because you know what? I've accepted that society's going the way it's going. My intention is to live out my life and be ready for whatever comes. Be prepared. I have guns, ammunition, and silver. I plan to get land at some point and start growing food. I plan to try and be as self-sustained as I can be. So that if in the event comes that we get to a point where it's either you participate in the government's game of socialism and communism, or you get to be a hick in the woods and have guns and food, and just you can't participate in most of society, I'll do it. I'll sit out there because you know what? At least I'm free. At least I can say whatever the fuck I want, do whatever the fuck I want. I can shoot my guns. I can eat freely. I can choose what I eat. I'm not eating government slop. Hell, people in Venezuela right now can't get food. They're standing in lines. They're boiling their boots to eat the leather. Go ask people in Venezuela how their socialism, how it happened. It's the same thing that Black Lives Matter started. Let's tear down the statues. Let's rewrite the history. And it all dials back to that one part of that page, of their page, that says we are a Marxist movement. That's where it all starts. I want you all to go get the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and read it. Understand it. Because that's the process. And guess what? Ask people of Venezuela what happened when this all started.
And be educated before you even bother coming our way. Bottom line.
Because let's face it, the truth is, they went through this, and they'll tell you it's only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And if you do nothing to stop it, eventually you're there. But it's okay, because you and I are going to die. Hopefully, things will not go super bad until we're dead. And then we're going to have a long period of time where all these people and their kids and their grandkids, their ignorance, if they choose not to at least look into what they're saying and think for what we're saying and think for themselves. I'm not saying you have to agree with me. I'm not saying you have to. All I'm asking is that you listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, and you go and you do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Because at the end of the day, it goes hand in hand with free speech. Is you have the freedom to go.
Yeah,
you have
real quick.
And
instead of attack us, show us what you're talking about.
Show us.
We'll listen.
We'll listen. If you want to send us something and give us your point, we'll look at it. And we'll do the same thing. Type something
into the comments section. If it's a fucking complicated meme and you're just fucking around, fuck you, okay? That's boring, okay? But when it comes to actually being smart, or at least in the process of trying to further that, talk to us. Say something. Please.
And we're intellectual people. It doesn't matter what you come to us with it. We'll look at it intellectually. The fact is that right now, you have a world of information at your fingertips, the World Wide Web. People, our parents, they had to go to the damn library. They had to find a book on it. They had to pray the answers, and they had to read another book on it. Anything I want to know, I type in a computer. As long as I know that I'm looking at trustworthy sites, and I check multiple places, and I do it right, I can get the answer to any question that I have. Right? I can get the answer on anything. And the fact is, we have this world of information at our fingertips. People don't use it. Guess what? One day it's not going to be there. One day the government's going to go and they're going to censor the internet like China does.
You got to understand, they're passing laws to control the internet at all. It's like, really? Number one, good luck. But if you pull it off, I don't think a lot of people are going to want to fucking use the internet.
Because what's the point? All we're saying is that if you don't agree with what we're saying, or if you want to learn more, or go do your own research.
Use your brain and research it.
Think
please.
As an individual.
There's a difference between shut up, Michael, fuck you, and you're wrong. And then there's
hey,
class.
I have these facts, I have this information that I found, and I'd like you to, use your own brain, and don't listen to the media. For the love of God, don't listen to the news, because none of that is telling you the truth. All those people are bought. And don't say, I listen to Fox News, or I listen to CNN, and my news media would never. Fuck no.
Well, no, to keep our mind open, let us know if you do. I mean, if we're gonna keep the conversation interesting, we might as well see where you're getting your information from. Shit.
Yeah, that is true. You do
because
have a point.
9 times out of 10, if we're having a discussion with you, you're gonna want us to see what you're talking about. So, logically.
And people who are involved in, especially the Black Lives Matter movement, understand that you are a victim. You are being used. If you're not a true, if you don't want socialism and Marxism, understand that they are taking your, because I do believe that there is still racism in America. I do believe
we're wrong, but I'm with them on this. I think you're being used.
I do believe that there are system-wide, I can't remember the term right now, but there is an innate disadvantage. I do believe that, and I do understand, and I don't think it's right. I don't. But it's also not right for people who want to basically push us into a system where we have no freedoms and take advantage of your hardships and your situations to further their agenda. It's not right. And it never will be right. And if you are somebody who wants socialism and who is with certain organizations like that because you agree with the fact that we should be socialists, just go look at every other socialist country and what happened to it. Go look at China. Go look at Russia. China isn't even a true communist country anymore. They're starting to change. Look at Venezuela. They're one of the most recent. They're one of the most recent countries that went through all this. And those people will tell you, don't listen to that shit. It's not what you want. You want to be the consumer. You want to be.
If they're in your country.
You want to be the customer. You want to go to the store and be able to choose what brand of ketchup. For instance, speaking of ketchup, I like Heinz ketchup, okay? I like it. It tastes a certain way. It tastes good to me. Some people don't like Heinz ketchup. It's a preference. Some people like Hunt's. And then those odd brand ketchups like Sir Kensington's. And you remember in Mannion or in middle school, we used to have those stupid, you remember those packets they called it fancy ketchup, and it tasted like shit, had like a diner style print on it. Those things were horrible. But anyway,
oh yeah, I still see those
as a consumer, I have the choice. Okay? If we take away those freedoms, there is no more choice. There is one ketchup, if there's any ketchup. Because let's face it, once you get that far gone, you're eating slop. The people in Venezuela, they're eating freaking slop. You as the consumer can go to the store you want to go to, by the way. You have a choice of which store you can go to. You have a choice of which brands of food you can get. You have these choices. If one thing does you wrong, you go to another. If these packs of hot dogs are making you sick and you don't like them, you'll get a different pack of hot dogs. If this store, the people and the staff is unfriendly and they're rude to you, there's another store out there. But just like the DMV, if the government runs everything, you will be at their mercy. They will be as rude to you as they want. They will tell you whatever they want. They will make you do whatever they want. Because at the end of the day, you don't have a choice. If you want groceries, if you want food, you gotta go to the people's place to get the food, and you have to eat the people's food, and you have to like it. And you don't want to live like that. You don't. We in America, we have those luxuries. We have, and see, people, it's so sad because people don't even see that as a luxury anymore. It's just a given. And the truth is, that is such a wonderful thing. You don't even know. You take so much for granted in society. You take so much for granted. You have the choice whether or not you want to order it on Walmart.com or Amazon.com. You have the choice whether or not you want to subscribe to Amazon Plus or Walmart Plus. If Amazon was run by the government, there wouldn't be an Amazon Prime. Walmart was run by the government, there wouldn't be in Walmart Plus. We wouldn't have rollbacks. There wouldn't be sales. Because why? Why bother? If it's run by the government, you have to take it as it is or have nothing.
Down on your knees, up your ass.
That's right. So, really, look at the things around you today. Look at the roads you drive on. Look at the choices you have on what you can buy, where you can go. Think of every little thing in your life where you have a choice, where you're the customer, where you're treated a certain way because they want your business. Strip it all away. Get rid of it. It's now just like the DMV. At the DMV, you don't have this document. You go home, you get it, and you wait in line again. And if we're closed, oh well. And if you can't find the document, that's tough. You need to understand that your way of life that you live today is at stake. I understand that some people are in hardships. Okay? I get it. I know people are in way more dire situations than I am in. And I understand things are hard. But understand that they will be much harder on you if you choose to let socialism take this country. Because at the end of the day, it all comes back to equality. We'll all be equal. We'll all be equally oppressed.
Okay? Real quick, is some of it okay, or none of it? What's your take on it as far as socialism goes?
In terms of workers' rights, in terms of companies doing their people dirty, doing things dirty in terms of like dumping chemicals and stuff. You remember Timette used to dump chemicals back home. They used to dump chemicals out into the swamp back in the day. In terms of worker safety, in terms of things being played fair, you got to think about it this way. If you had complete capitalism and there was no government around, at some point, man, you look at that game, that Cyberpunk 2077, that whole lore, and it does make one good point. If these companies have no limits on how much they can grow, if they have no limits on what they can do, they'll end up taking over parts of the country and having wars. And I'm going to tell you something. A capitalist country with wars is not a fun idea. How many retailers are in this town? Now imagine there's a retailer war and we got people blowing up shit in the streets and killing each other. That doesn't sound...
Under the premise of business.
Under the premise of business and money. It's not a good idea. And people say that could never happen. I'm going to tell you what. It could if we had 100%, 100% capitalism with absolutely no government intervention whatsoever, period. And nobody interferes with it in terms of workers' rights, none of that. OSHA's not there, nothing these companies do. They have limitless exponential growth, and it's not good either. So you do need some kind of authority. But also, you don't need a minimum wage increase. You don't need the government owning portions of your companies. You don't need the government owning anything of a company. The government's job is not anything besides secure the homeland and really protect the rights of the people. Protect the rights of the people and secure the homeland, really, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it. And, of course, they deal with infrastructure. We're sending this many states money for roads and this and that. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's our tax dollars that we're working for in those states that fund those fucking roads. So, no, the government is not pulling this money out of the air and giving it to the states for the roads. We are making that money, we are giving it to them, and they are giving it to the states on a population basis. Which is why, in my opinion, we really shouldn't have a federal income tax. It should all be by your state. This way, if there's more people in Texas, there's better roads in Texas. Okay? And the truth is, money should stay within the states. We have lost state rights. The states don't really have as many rights as they really should. Okay? The only thing that I've seen states trying to hold on to their rights is, obviously, some states have had the right to legalize marijuana, which I'm all for.
Same.
And also there are states that have, like Texas with constitutional carry. You know, Texas passed a suppressor law. You know what it is? Any suppressor made in the state of Texas that stays in the state of Texas, you will not be prosecuted. Now, that also doesn't mean the ATF still can't come bust down your door. But no law enforcement officer here in Texas will come for you for owning a suppressor. Now, it's not in effect yet, so don't go out. Well, at least at the time of recording this, it's not in effect. So don't go out and go buy a suppressor. And I saw this law on. No, the ATF will still just as quick kick down your front door and fuck you over. But the truth is that, and there are states that have completely nullified gun control. Like, there are states that have basically come out with a law that says, if you're a law enforcement officer and you go after somebody for federal gun control laws, you're out of a job. You're fired. You will never be anything involved in any kind of law enforcement as long as you live. Now, you take, and you know what, now you take, and there's fines and crap with it too. Could you imagine the police chief who just had one of his top officers go and tip off and go and arrest somebody and get the ATF involved? Now your police department is paying a huge fine, so your funding is completely slashed to shit. And now on top of that, you have an officer. This could have been a great officer, but because they did that one thing, they will never be an officer. They will never be nothing. Nobody in the state of Texas is going to have the guts to go and start busting people for gun control laws after that, because they don't want to lose their jobs. And that's just what it comes down to. They don't want to lose money, because everything comes down to that. It all comes back to it. It's all about money. It's all about value. It's all about growth. So that's and you know what? On top of now people screaming about that, with states passing those laws, on top of that, you got people screaming defund the police. You know what? I remember when we had those riots in the Capitol. And I think that should open a lot of your eyes on defunding the police. Guess what? A mob went up to that fucking building. And, you know what the police did? After being told that government officials, especially members of the Democratic Party, were agreeing that, we should defund police. Agreeing with it, they said, you know what? Okay. You want to defund us? Fuck you, we're letting the mob in. Go on. We're backing up. We're not doing this. You want to defund us? You want to make us the enemy? Go on, go in there. And those motherfuckers are lucky that those people just wanted to go in there and fuck with shit and sit in chairs and take pictures and laugh it up. Because I guarantee you right now, if those people had gone in with guns and blown the whole place apart, it would be a whole different fucking thought process for them right now. They would be sitting back in their chairs going, what the fuck have we done? They are lucky that those people were not violent. Some were, and there were some minor things, but it is what it is. Those politicians got a taste of what happens when you make the wrong person an enemy. And I guarantee after that, I stopped hearing about defund the police real quick on the media. I didn't hear any of that shit for a minute. Because all of them were pretty scared to open their mouths after seeing that. A lot of these places where politicians meet, a lot of these politicians go, damn, if the police out in D.C. were willing to let an angry mob of people just march into a Capitol building, maybe I want to shut the fuck up about defunding my local police department. Because who's to say that if I'm the mayor of a city and I'm saying that when a bunch of citizens want to come cut my head off, my police chief doesn't just be like, you know what? Let him in.
Well, real quick, let's be really smart here. We understand that there's fucking bully cops out there.
Absolutely.
And they probably do some bullshit, alright? That we have to acknowledge just because, hey, you know, we're not stupid. We see what's going on. But, I mean, you have to think about the basis of what we're trying to say and the story he just brought up. You know? You want to defund the police completely. You know, let's put it in the sense of creepy-ass murderer coming after you. And you're one of the people that decided you wanted to defund the police. You know, there's still a sense in which you need them. And there's still a sense in when you need to trust the justice system. But it's tricky like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just... You still gotta be smart, though. You know defund the police is not the answer.
It's not the answer. But you know what is the answer? Is holding the politicians that you elect accountable. We're going to talk about George Floyd. George Floyd, first of all, I do believe that, to an extent, that officer was wrong. And I don't believe he deserved to die that way. George Floyd was taken down by a chokehold. A legitimate chokehold that was in their training. This particular chokehold has been taken out by many law enforcement agencies because of its lethality rate. How many people die from it. So, what really should have happened is the people should have busted down the mayor's door and said, hey, you put this police chief in here. Why did they leave this in their training? Why is this still here when so many law enforcement offices have removed it? What is your police chief doing? Because I'm sorry, but the police chief's job is not to sit at the desk, puff cigars, and handle PR and damage control and live the dream. Otherwise, the police chief should be sitting there monitoring what their officers are doing, looking at what's going on in the country with different officers, researching what's going on, and finding ways to better the operations of their department 24/7. That's their job. They're technically a manager. They're managing. They need to find more efficient and better ways of doing things. If I just sat on my ass at a desk where I work and did nothing, I don't even have a desk, but if I did, I would be fired. Because I'm not doing anything to grow the company. Well, the police chief's responsibility is to guide guide their police department in the right direction. Okay? And if they're not doing anything about it, then it's your job as the people to go to your elected mayor and say, hey, we're not having this shit. And if you're not going to do something about it, you can get the fucking boot and get the fuck out. The problem is that we don't hold our elected officials accountable anymore.
Real quick, this is something that it's interesting, and I know it's kind of far off the topic of George Floyd. I'm sure he's going to wrap it around and bring it to something. So I'm just going to say what I got to say. Unfortunately, it's an interesting topic in itself. We'll talk about it later. Plus, it's kind of a psycho one. Sometimes, as the people, you might physically need to pull someone out of office and express your displeasure.
Oh, yeah.
So also remember that.
Oh, yeah. If enough of you are unhappy, march on your Capitol building. March on your city hall and say, we want you out. Okay? The point is that mayor elected a police chief, and the police chief did not do their due diligence. They did not do their job. That chokehold should have not been in their training. It should have never been there. It should have been pulled like all the other police departments that pulled it. And it all wraps back around. You're unhappy with the systemic racism, that was the word, and all the things wrong in this country. Well, guess what? Your politicians are the ones that let it continue to happen. Your politicians are the ones that don't fix the problem. Your politicians are the ones who can make a change, but they don't. Everyone thinks that when you go to elect somebody, the person you see on the TV and what they're saying is really what they're all about, and it's not. I'm sorry to tell you this, but in politics, there's a lot of times that politicians go against your will to get something done. And I think the term is called log rolling. And what it is I want this, but I know you want this down the line. Now, I know that your state has a bad opinion of this, but if you vote for this for me, I'll vote for this for you, that for you later. And that's just one of the many ways they go about...
Real quick, what was that term called again?
Log rolling.
Log rolling, okay.
And that's one of the many ways they have of either keeping things from going into effect or convincing each other to go against the will of their people in their state to get what they want. There's one called filibustering, where some asshole will stand up there and just keep talking about bullshit until time runs out so that nobody can vote. And eventually, if they do it long enough and nobody's able to stop it, a bill dies. The fact is that the politicians that you hire, now most of the days, nobody even gives a crap about anything but the president. Hey, here's a good one for you. The president does not make laws. The president does not write laws. The president gets to sign it if it gets through the House and the Senate. But the president does not make laws. The president does not make direct decisions. And don't give me this executive order shit. You know what? All I heard during all these, I'm going to do an executive order of this. I'm going to make an executive order about that. And maybe some of them took effect. But they weren't that fucking big. Hell, what is it? What Biden said, I'm going to make an executive order that includes stimulus checks. Well, we sure didn't see it. I didn't see it. Congress still had to go and pester each other just to get it passed. So if it was really that damn easy, don't you think they would have done it? How many times did Trump say he was going to do executive order on this and that and this and that and then? And most of them really didn't hold. Because executive orders are not a free pass for them to do whatever the hell they want.
It's give too much power to the
you're giving
branch.
You know what? You know the truth is the only thing the president is responsible for is to be the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces. That's it. That's their fucking job. Of course they are the figurehead of our nation. When you think about political leaders, you think about the president. But that's all they're really there for. Yes, they get a say on some laws, fine and dandy. But really, that's their main purpose. The commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. That's it. That's all they're there for. So the real people that you need to worry about who you're voting for is your congressmen and congresswomen. The people in Congress, the people in the House and the Senate. The people in your localities, your mayor, your governor.
I would say every person in power.
Every person in power. We've gotten to a point as a society where there are people who only care about the presidential election. Go vote. And look at every single candidate that they send you on that mail-in ballot. And I swear to God, do your research on them. Take the ideals that you believe in and do your research on them. Dedicate a day. One day to decide who you're going to vote for. Who best aligns with you. And then if everyone would start just writing a letter here and there. Hell, it's not even like back in the day where you got to handwrite a letter. I could type a letter and send it. Write a letter to your congressperson, for your representatives for your state. Write a letter to your mayor. Express your concerns. Start holding your politicians accountable. We don't want to continue this stupid cycle. Will we continue it? Probably yes. But we at least want to slow it down. Don't speed it up. Because I'm telling you, if you speed it up, you're going to make us a hell of a lot miserable, a hell of a lot quicker. Start holding your politicians accountable. Start researching who you vote for. People spend more time researching the car they're going to buy than they do their politicians that they're voting in. This is why they've been robbing us and screwing us for so many years.
Real quick. I want to take this. We're gonna have to wrap this up anyways. I'm sorry. I'm getting tired here. I agree with what he's saying, but all I'm trying to say is that brings me to a topic and a point of view is how people don't want to get involved in politics, and it's like that may be now, and you can even go around and find some adults that aren't concerned with it, but one of the biggest things you got to understand is you live by what's decided there. You know, unfortunately, no, it's not a football game or a baseball game, something you like to see and you're going to have fun with.
But it decides major facts of your life.
It does. And unfortunately, one of the main reasons why people avoid it and don't want to talk about it is because you get pissed. Well, here's the fun part. Also, therein lies the issue. You get mad at politics in general, all right? You're not going to agree with everybody. It's there for a reason. You actually live by those things that get decided in politics. So there's a point in talking about it.
Oh,
Anyways,
absolutely.
I'm going to let you say something on it, and then we're gonna have to wrap this up.
All right. My point is, a lot of people avoid politics because they don't want to get in arguments. Stop getting in arguments. Start taking each other's points of view and looking at them intellectually. Start having intellectual discussions. Our problem nowadays is we're so apt to just get offended, upset, hurt, and attack each other that we can't have logical discussions. And another thing, nobody can change their mind. Nobody can learn from an experience and feel a different way. It's like imagine you're pro-life and then all of a sudden, let's say you're pro-choice and then you have a kid and all of a sudden it changes how you feel and you start being pro-life. You say, maybe it's not right that we take this thing that I've my child, and we just say, hey, it's the person's choice whether or not I'm going to kill it or not. Life experiences change your opinion. Life experiences change how you feel. You do not have the same mindset you did when you were 5 for a reason. You've gone through shit. You've been through something. You understand things. Your opinions on things will change. It is okay to change your mind. It is okay to feel differently later on. You are not a hypocrite. You are growing and you are learning.
Because
and it's not and I don't mean growth is in a good thing or a bad thing. And I'm not saying pro-life or pro-choice is the way to go. I personally choose not to feel a certain way on that, and I personally choose not to get into that because it is a really, really complicated thing. And you look at the religious aspects of it and the scientific aspects of it, and it's just, let's face it, people, science, and religion don't fucking mix. Don't try. Don't put them in a pot. Don't make it happen. It's like water and oil. There is nothing. Maybe there's something to make water and oil mix. But just putting water and oil by themselves, it's not going to happen. That's science and religion. Nothing is going to change. Your opinion is going to change. Have intellectual discussions. Learn from each other. And if you change your mind, that's okay. Don't get into arguments. Don't get angry.
Yeah, I guess to put a better sense on what he said, the reason why it gets so touchy is because it's the talk about life and death, alright? Anybody's morality would be questioned there, alright? You start thinking logically about it, it's going to change things. Your opinion's going to change. But what he was talking about, bottom line, and we're going to wrap it up here, is it is the discussion between life and death, and it brings up your morality. certain things like that, I agree with him. Don't really voice your opinion, alright? You should probably stay in the middle. And that's where I kind of feel the brainwashing. I'm the one wrapping this up. I'm sorry. I would say with that particular one, just being smart, keep your opinion to yourself. The reason why, and it's to go with what he's saying, is because you're going to get killed for it. I have seen comedians bring it up as a joke at most in front of a crowd of people. And they have to be good to do it. But bottom line, there is certain shit to stay out of. But if you're going to talk about it, do not get frustrated or angry.
Don't get frustrated or angry at all. Everybody has a different opinion. Everyone has a different way of living. Everyone has a different idea of how things should be. And because there are so many of us, we all vote on it. And that's what we all vote and put in different politicians. And guess what? If more people have an opinion on this one thing than others, then in turn, as long as we're holding our politicians accountable, then those majority of people's beliefs will be accounted for. And if you're the minority, well, I'm sorry, but that's the way it works.
I guess bottom line, be an intellectual, be smart, right?
And hold your politicians accountable. Don't go burn down buildings and businesses because you don't like the way shit is. Make a difference. Instead of burning down a building, somebody needs to write a letter to the mayor of I can't remember which city it was that George Floyd. I apologize for that whole incident. But if you're there and you're really outraged by it, write letters to your mayor. Bring up that exact point that I gave. And the next time you go to vote for your mayor, ask yourself, do I really want this ass clown? If you don't like him, if you like him, he, she, I don't know who's the mayor. I don't care. I didn't pay too much attention to it. The media never reports anything right anyway. It's always twisted. If you're in a place anywhere that you think that your leaders aren't doing things right, sit down next time and think about who's running and who you want to pick. That's really, and then when you do pick them, take note of what they call for. Take note of what they say they're going to do, what they say they stand for, what they say they want to do. And when they do something that goes against it, make it noticed, make it public, write a letter, make a statement, make a YouTube video, put your knowledge, put that out there. Because if enough people say something about it, we're holding them accountable. And that's what they don't want. They don't want to be held accountable. They want to continue to play their games. And they want to continue for us to be confused and distracted by our phones and by our everyday life so that they can continue behind the curtain doing whatever the hell it is they want to do. Just be smart.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyways, guys, thanks. That was Michael. I'm finally glad I got him on here, you know. How do you feel?
I feel good. And you know what? I feel like that if people listen to this, I feel like I might have changed a few people's views. I might have changed things for the better for some people. I know that a lot of people are going to tell me to fuck off, and that's fine. That's your right. That's your choice. Tell me to fuck off. If you ever find me someday walking around and say fuck you to me, go ahead.
Yeah, I would keep it words, though.
You know.
Alright, guys.
And one more thing.
Alright, go ahead.
Understand that we are a nation based on rights. And there are people in this country who have gone out, like the person that I used to work with, who have done horrible, horrible fucking things, not even knowing it. Things that they probably can't live with themselves for. So that you can sit here, so that I can sit on this microphone and tell you how I feel. So that you can tell me to fuck off. So that you can talk against your government. So that you have the freedoms. And I would, if ever there were a time that freedom of speech was at risk, I would pick up a gun and fight so that you could live another day to disagree with me, because your opinion matters too, and you have the right to have that opinion. Don't let that go. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.